Kamara Usman, ladies and gentlemen, this is a live, not live reaction, post UFC 261 reaction. Just quickly before we do that, this podcast is going to be a bit weird because neither of us have the most time on this. We're recording on Sunday, we don't have as much time, so we have to record our opinions individually. And right now, it's currently 5:30 in the morning. And we're just gonna give you guys a quick rundown of welterweight division after Kamara Usman flatlines Jorge Masvidal in the second round.
Man, Sean, first of all, I want to say real quick, undefeated bet of the week. Unfortunately, I didn't put money on this one, even though I should have. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Undefeated, I said he was going to win. He was going to knock him out this time. With his dad there was no way he wasn't going to knock out Jorge with one of the cleanest right hands I've ever said. I was talking to Sean in the first round, and I said he's gonna have to look out for that counter right, for that right hand. Put your hands up. And guess what happened? He pulled his hand away. He had his right hand down, and bang, nice little right hand. And obviously, Sean just said this is a post-fight reaction. The live reaction, we were on video call because I had a feeling something mad was gonna happen. These the last 3 title fights have been crazy, or the last 2 prior to this. So I knew we had to get that in. Took a quick screenshot. So what's up on the screen now is pretty much our live reaction to how it's fucking happening. And Sean, what do you have to say?
The official face reveal, honestly, man. Fuck's sake, guys. I said to Milan before this fight that, I was like, oh, Masvidal might do it, even though I said in the podcast, the predictions anyway, that Masvidal was not winning this fight and it was going to be a Marty Usman victory. I think I was talking about who I wanted to win. I wanted to see Masvidal win, but man, Kamara Usman is so good. He is so good. All I want to say is in my opinion, this guy fights Colby in November, December. Give him time off. He deserves it. He's fought back to back very quickly.
This year.
Fight Colby. And then if he wants to fight the winner of Leon Nate, then go ahead, but I don't think he really wants to do that. Literally.
I think he just wants to clear out the division.
Retire.
Because there's nobody there.
Retire. Beat Colby and retire. Because
I think because we just saw there a statistic. He is second in the win streak in the welterweight division, just behind Silva. I think it's 14 for him, 16 for Silva. I think maybe beat that record and then retire. Sean, I think the one fight that has to be made, unfortunately, I don't think is gonna happen, is the Prince of Kendall.
The Fresh Prince of Kendall.
I don't think that'll ever happen. The Fresh Prince of Kendall, excuse me. But man, first of all, what a card. I just want to say, what a card. None of these fights disappointed. It was filled with ups and downs. The whole Weidman thing, the whole fucking, like, the main card especially, the main card was a fucking roller coaster, I have to say. But these 3 title fights, especially the Zhang Wei Li fight, was actually so surprising. Because both me and Sean were basically leaning towards the favorites, right? That's what we said in the reaction, not the reaction, but in the prediction video. And unfortunately for us, it didn't happen that way.
No, not at all. Zhang Wei Li got absolutely just. She just took it looked like to me, she took a bad step backwards. Her foot movement was off, or something was weird. She took a bad step backwards and then had her hands down, got absolutely folded. But I kind of wanted to go back to the welterweight division really quickly.
Let's go.
Gilbert Burns, Stephen Thompson is next. Leon versus Nate. I think Colby fights Kamara, and then realistically, Leon should fight the winner. Sorry, Leon versus Nate. I think Leon's gonna win, but I think Leon versus Nate winner would fight like Gilbert or Stephen Thompson. If Leon Edwards wins, he should fight the winner of those two. But if Nate wins, You kind of want to get that red panty night for Kamara, get him a bit more money. So you would probably
Oh, not
you'd
only
put
that, we
you
want to give Nate his title shot.
exactly you'd put him up against Nate, the real bad motherfucker now anyway. Uh, but I think that this fight just with Kamara just shows how good he is. Like when we watched Masvidal versus Nate, like Masvidal was killing Nate.
It
And
was
Masvidal said he was
disgusting.
gonna Nate said he was gonna step it up. If Nate came in that slow against Kamaru Usman, he would get folded. He would get slept and flatlined. It would be embarrassment. But oh my god, guys, I am tired. Fuck me. But
Well, Sean,
uh,
before we obviously dip and we go to sleep, I just have one more question for you. Since you're talking about the future a lot, what is the future? What do you think is the future for Jorge Masvidal now?
I think at the moment he's out of the title picture. But there's a man who I think there's two fighters who I think fit for him right now. Vicente Luque and Chiesa are both unbooked. So I think maybe one of them he could get. But at the same time, like he could easily fight the winner of Thompson Gilbert or the winner of Nate and Leon. Like he still is a high ranking. He's fought the last two fights. He's fought the champion, you know. So like he's come off two
Maybe
title
what I was just
losses.
thinking while you were talking
So
about the future.
I think
Maybe
Lee.
we see
Mm,
a second fight between Nate Diaz and Masvidal. Maybe two losers fight against each other.
yeah, 100% possibly. But the thing is, if Nate loses and then Jorge versus Nate, like I just think the whole bad motherfucker kind of thing doesn't sell as well anymore.
In my
Because
opinion, Sean.
go on.
Yeah, good. Uh, in my opinion, I think Kamaru Usman, like it or not, if we're treating this bad motherfucker belt as a proper belt, which it should be since it's being carried around everywhere, and he's always like talking about it, all the time about it, but like he's bringing it around with him. Uh, this is Kamaru Usman's second title defense for his bad motherfucker belt. I don't care what you say. He won that belt when he beat Jorge. Did he beat Kobe afterwards, right?
No, he beat Gilbert.
Didn't he fight
No, he
Kobe
fought Kobe before.
after? Wait,
He,
I just need to check that
he
real
fought
quick. Hold
Kobe
on.
before. He broke his jaw. But
Yes,
um,
yeah. They were so close together, but Gilbert Burns and Jorge Masvidal. That's his second. That's two defenses right there. That's
I
two.
yeah,
This
that
guy
knockout.
is on a finishing streak right now. Two finishes, one in the third round, one in the second round. Man, this makes me want to see the Kobe fight so much more. I want to see this shit.
Man, I don't know if I want to see it. At the same time, though, I think Kobe will get finished because Kobe's a volume guy, as we know, and Kobe is
Yeah.
susceptible to strikes, and so is Kamara, because neither of them have the best
But
striking.
wait,
But the thing is, Kamara has now utilized his power, and he can knock people out with one punch, like fucking Masvidal. Jorge Granite Chin Masvidal got fucking slapped. And you think Colby Covington won't? I think
Sean,
I think it's a
interesting thing you say actually. Interesting thing. Sorry for cutting you off once again, but interesting you say volume. Because while we were watching the fight, Sean, it seemed that Usman was actually out of breath. It seemed like he was gassed in the first round. Do you maybe think that Kobe will be too much for him in the second?
no, because I think Colby's chin's not as good as Jorge's, and I think that Kamara would able to utilize his power. The more he has this ability to knock people out that quickly, the better he's gonna get at knowing when and how to use it, I think. So, like, let's just say let's say in his next fight, he'll fight Colby because he's obviously training with Ngannou, and Ngannou's obviously learning when to use his power and stuff. I just think
Mm.
that he'll have a much better, like he won't be as urgent to throw his bombs because remember in the first he threw a few wild punches because he thought he could just knock him out. Um, that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
apparent to me that his striking has gone up because he knows he can knock people out now. Um, but that's kind of how I see it. That in the next fight, especially against Colby, he's going to be much more reserved, and there could be a few grappling exchanges. But Colby will be definitely a very good fight. I'm not counting Colby out of 100%,
Oh,
but
definitely not.
I
Definitely not.
think that Colby will get. I just think after seeing that, I'm so biased. I'm recency biased right now that Colby will get finished. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Usman, I think, is going to try and get finishes now. I think he's here to prove a point that he is the greatest welterweight of all time. I think he's trying to prove that
I
point,
think
Sean.
he's building himself up so much right now that he could easily fight. Uh, like his name is getting so big now after that win. Like that has pushed him so much. Beating someone like Jorge, like if he beats someone like Nate or something, then I think he would be able to fight like a GSP or a Nick Diaz or some. You know what I mean? Like I think they would give him a fight like that because his name is getting to the stage where I think he could even like if Izzy moves to light heavyweight again and gets the belt, and then the division's just kind of how it is. You and me were talking about Robert Whitaker versus Kamara
Hmm.
and stuff, which after seeing that, man, I don't know. I don't know what to think anymore. I think that I don't want to get too into that. I don't want to get too into that, but
This is this is what's fucked about doing a show like this, like close after the fights, because there's less time to kind of think rationally. I think that's why it was kind of nice before, where we have like a whole ass week before we talked about what happens.
yeah,
But unfortunately, the timing is a bit off today. But man, what a fucking card, man!
honestly,
What a card. More will be discussed throughout the podcast in two parts, you and me. But anyway, basically, enjoy the rest of the podcast. This isn't the end. I think I'm gonna put Sean's part first, and then I will end off the podcast afterwards. So yeah, any last words before you start talking for a bit, Sean?
guys, all I'm gonna say is you're coming to the coolest part of the podcast in the two segment. Ah, but yeah, guys, I'm
Oh
gonna go
man.
get some shut eye. Come wake up, record my segments. I'm gonna get some stuff lined up, and yeah, I'll talk about it in a
Yes,
minute.
sir.
This is gonna be the weirdest podcast ever because it's only gonna be me talking and
Hey,
only
it is
him
what it is.
talking. But
We still work.
we
We
have we
still
have to get
work.
the video out. It's gonna be weird. It's a once off, hopefully.
Facts.
But yeah. Oh, all right.
But it's cool. So,
Good night, guys. I'll talk to you in 2 seconds.
and I'll talk to you in probably 20 or 30 minutes. See you
See you
then.
guys. Oi, ladies and gentlemen. There's no can. Actually, you know what? There's a can behind me, but I'm not going to use that can. That's a can of Heineken. Um, so, ladies and gentlemen, this is a different format you're listening to. Sorry, I was closing my door, but this is a weird one to be honest. Myself and Milan's time schedules, we couldn't make work this week, but we knew we had to get an episode out as we discussed in the first half. So, um, the first half, the first little 10 minutes you were listening to there was well, that was filmed. Well, that filmed recorded at 6 in the morning, and now you're listening to me, and it is we are in sunny Dublin, Ireland, and it is 11:45. Now I'm not exactly sure how long this will go on for because I don't have Milan to play off. There's not gonna be a lot of banter, but it's gonna be me kind of waffling on talking about these topics. Now, whilst I'm talking to you, keep in mind that I could get some stuff wrong just because I am doing it all by myself. So just keep that in mind for myself. Now, what I was gonna do first, guys, is I was gonna run through the card because we made some predictions, myself and Milan. Uh, Now. here is the first fight that of the first fight of the night, the first fight that me and Milan have disagreed on completely. Uh, Liang Na versus Andrea Cardinalsi. I'm sorry if I completely butchered her name, but Milan said that La was going to take was going to take this one, and I completely disagreed, and I said I'm going to call it Ariana. Ariana took the win via KO in the second round. I'm not sure if I called around her a way she would win. I can't actually remember. But what I did say was, I said she was going to win. And I'm not going to lie to you boys. I did not pick her because I thought she was a superior mixed martial artist. I picked her because I thought her name was cooler. So, there's not a lot I can talk about this one, but I did see UFC actually put it out on their Instagram, and they don't usually talk about a lot of the early pre. They wouldn't really talk about a lot of early prelim fights unless it was a good fight. So, um, shout out to these guys. Clearly a good stoppage. The next fight actually won fight of the night in the flyweight division. Jeff Molina versus Quilling Aori. Now, I had Quilling Aori in this one because I thought he was a more grizzled veteran. He's older, of course, but Jeff Molina came in and completely shocked me because it was an amazing fight, first of all. Two knockdowns from Jeff Molina. They were good knockdowns. He failed one, he didn't get the better of him in terms of on the ground because, he failed his only takedown attempt and he got taken down three times, but he was able to defend one. But the striking is just ridiculous. He landed over 210 times to Aori's 125. Like that is ridiculous if I do say so myself, but ladies and gentlemen. But I don't want to dwell on that one too much, but I do know Jeff Molina walked away with not 60, it was 50 G's. And yeah, honestly, a fight I'm gonna watch back because I didn't watch it. Me and Milan actually we had a bit of a problem. We only got to watch the three main events, the three title fights, because we meant to wake up at 3 a.m. to watch the fight at what's it called? I can't speak my words. We meant to wake up to watch um sorry, Anthony Lionheart in his fight, and then Uriah Hall Weidman. Um, but we didn't end up watching them because I woke up at 3:30, and then I texted Milan, and he was like, "Yo, I'm having some problems with my Wi-Fi and stuff." So I was like, "All right, cool." So I gave him a minute, and then by the time he was done, we watched the Shevchenko fight. Was the first fight we watched. So we weren't up for too late. But yeah, it's just hard to stay up. To be honest, some fans will do it, but we just can't sometimes. I'm sorry. But the next fight anyway was Rodrigo Vargas versus Zhu Rong. I believe I had Zhu Rong to win this fight. I'm not actually sure, but Vargas coming away with a decision. Zhu Rong actually, I believe, had an impressive streak of KOs. Well, he had a lot of KOs in his record, so that's kind of where I was going with the fight, I believe. I believe that's why I picked him, but in this last fight, Dana, Dana indeed. I picked Dana to take this one purely because of his name, and also I think he's got more, uh, how do we say, he's just got a better overall kind of, like his record was a bit more cleaner. I'm pretty sure I did pick Dana just because of that, because I thought he was being propped up for the reason that he was going to come out there and win, and he won impressively in 50 seconds in the first round. I actually did not see it, but sorry, excuse me. But yeah, this next fight is on the prelims, and boys, ladies and gentlemen, I should say, gender neutral terms, 2021. Um, I got this one very wrong. I picked Tristan Connolly to win this via a decision, and I went the complete other way. Um, I'm actually gonna check this out on ShareDog because uh, I'm very interested to see. Okay, have to actually type in ShareDog. Perfect. But I'm not entirely sure this was what kind of decision this was. If it's a unanimous decision, then I am a. Oh, boys, it was a unanimous decision as well. Oh, that's bad. I didn't watch this fight either. because as I said, I only watched three fights in the whole card. Like I only I watched back a few of them. Like I watched back Anthony Smith, who was just levels in his fight. But we'll get to that in a bit. Um, but apologies, boys. I'm very slow this morning. But there was Tristan Connolly got knocked down. There wasn't a lot of ground game. Well, in a way, there was six total takedowns attempted, only two successful. But yeah, it was a weird one. Next, I just want to move on, to be honest, because it's a sad one, because I got it very, very wrong. But the next one, anyway, is Brendan Allen, who I predicted to take the submission victory over Carl Robertson, and he did it. So that's an exact perfect prediction for myself. The PP. We all have a bit of PP, don't we, Lewis? But this next one is as far from a PP as possible. Um, Dwight Grant, I predicted to lose to Stefan Sekulic via decision. Milan went for the guillotine, and Dwight Grant completely walked away with this one. So enough said about that, the better. But what was I gonna say? Randy Brown, this next fight, I predicted the KO, I believe, but I predicted the victory, and he beat Alex Oliveira. Alex Oliveira is not, I believe he's not the hottest at the moment. Um, but we, I feel bad for Alex Oliveira because I remember one of the time that I started watching UFC, that he was just such a cool, like his whole cowboy kind of persona was kind of cool, but now he's on two in a row, two losses in a row. It's kind of just like, it's a bit sad to be honest. Like out of his one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, out of his last seven, he's 2-5. Like I think Dana will be watching that, to be honest, because that is pretty embarrassing. Um, Especially for a UFC fighter. Like it's not just something like Dana likes to have his fighters on good runs and like same with my friend Sam Alvey. I'm pretty unhappy that of his skid at the moment, and he knows himself he can do better. I know he can do better. Everyone knows he can do better. He's spot on Sam Alvey. Like he's shown in the past when he's on his game, he is so good. But sorry lads, just having a drink. But he is showing when he's on his game that he's a different level of a different caliber of a person. Really, like he can just knock people out. He marches them down, and he's just a great fighter. But he goes to what he knows sometimes, and he sits back against the cage. He counter strikes, and that's how Sam Alvey kind of does, not as well. And like you've seen that in his last few fights. Even though we would have felt like the fight he drew against Daon Young, I believe it was. I'm not gonna look it up. I think it's Daon Young, but that could be so wrong. Apologies if that's wrong. But he was a Korean fighter, I believe. Okay, that could be wrong too. I'm just gonna start talking about that, but his name or anything. But yeah, sorry, I'll be spoiling now. But honestly, very unfortunate for him. But yeah, Sam hopefully gets back on it because it doesn't look good when you're on a huge L streak, and hopefully Dana, you know, what's it? Sam has said no news is good news. Hopefully, so I'm of the same belief that hopefully the fact they haven't called him to cut him or anything is good news. But we're talking about the main card now, and in Anthony Lionheart Smith got his W today. The very white, sparkling veneers. Anthony Lionheart got his first taste of blood in a while. I think. Hold up, guys. Let me have a little look. I think that was his first one in a while. Um, but yeah, I was very impressed by him because he went out there and he was very, very, very impressive. Okay, no, apologies, ladies and gentlemen. That is his second in a row. Um, sorry, I don't know why. I thought that he had just fought in Glover and Rakic. That was kind of where I'd come from. But there he is. He's fought Devin Clark, now Jimmy Crute, moving his way back up slowly. 32 years of age. Me and Milan were talking about that he's in a steady kind of comeback, and he's in his prime, technically. So, hopefully he's okay. Hopefully he's doing good. You know, we hope I like Anthony. I like Anthony Leonard Smith a lot, and I hope he's doing good. Um, you know, he's actually a very interesting fighter for me because he kind of just came out of nowhere. Like I remember when I watched him take on John Jones. John Jones outclassed him first and foremost. I want to say he was robbed or anything. It was definitely a clear unanimous decision. But the amount of like he showed the Lionheart in that fight, and went back and watched a few of his old fights from that, and all I can say about Anthony Lionheart is that he just has a Lionheart. He's actually he's a grizzled vet at this point. I think, is that 50 fights? Yes, 50, that was his 51st fight. He's only 32 years of age. You know, he's a man who goes out there and leaves it all on the line. And this next fight, boys. I'm not sure if Milan's gonna listen through this and put up a picture or anything, but you know, I would recommend you look this up because if you're not too squeamish, that is, Uriah Hall versus Chris Weidman. Um, oh, ladies and gentlemen, it was just hard to look at. Chris Weidman broke his leg on a leg kick. Uriah Hall with a perfectly timed check, and that's what happens when you check a leg kick. Is that's kind of the purpose of checking the leg kick is that you break their leg, but no one wants to win like that. Uriah Hall he didn't want to win the way he won, of course he didn't. But honestly, you gotta feel bad for Chris Weidman. You gotta wonder, Uriah Hall was on such a good run as well. Um, I believe he was two or three in a row. I'll pull that up for you now. But yeah, it was just very unfortunate. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, one, two, three, four in a row. He's gone after that big win to Chris Weidman. Well, not the biggest win, obviously, but, um, you know, and before that, he lost to Paulo Costa. He had a win. Okay, he's on 3-5 losing streak. Never mind. But, yeah, Uriah Hall put up a great, he's now 4-0 in his last four. Um, in his last six, some people like to say he's 5-1, but people like to look at the last six or something. The last seven, he's got two losses and five wins. But Uriah Hall did not need this. Of all people, did not need this. That was his 30. He's 36 years of age now. Um, and honestly, like with this guy Uriah, like he doesn't need this kind of this delay because I feel like they kind of do want to run it back with Chris Weidman because Chris Weidman, although that is a loss in his record, um, you can't take away from the fact that he did get his win before that, and this was to go two fights in a row, and they're trying to build back up Chris Weidman, but that is not going to be the case anymore anyway, I believe. But I see Uriah Hall as a great fighter, and I think. Honestly, a fight I would love to see him in is throw him in there with a man on a losing streak, Kevin Holland, because Kevin Holland wants to stand up, he wants to strike, he doesn't want to grapple, and you're putting Kevin Holland in there with the likes of Marvin Vittori and Derek Brunson, the guys who, yeah, they want to be on the ground, they want to be rolling around the ground. I say throw Uriah Hall in there with Kevin Holland would be a great matchup. Um, Uriah Hall versus Darren Till is a huge jump up in competition, but I don't see why not. I also could see Uriah Hall versus Jared Cannonier would be a great fight. Um, Uriah Hall versus even Robert Whitaker. And now I think Uriah Hall has matched up these people very well. He's a great striker, and yeah, I would love to see something like that. There's other guys in the top 15, like obviously Brad Tavares, who you could throw him in there with Omar Akhmedov. There is people you could throw him in there with, but I think maybe a Jack Hermanson, someone who's going to stand with him is how I see it. Um, because I think Uriah does deserve a quick turnaround. Um, but it's a weird one. It's a very, very weird one, ladies and gentlemen. Um, it's kind of hard to say where he goes from here. And Chris Weidman, I don't know, does he come back from this? Is this it? As Chris Weidman, I would say, will look at this and say, no, this it can't be it. But for me anyway, watching that and all, I don't really want to see Chris Weidman at all. And I know people are gonna say that's because I've got bias, I just don't like him. Yeah, the same, that kind of is the reason. I gotta be honest, that kind of is the reason. I think it's time for him to hang up the gloves. He's just, he's only got he got one win, and he's coming into this fight as a. I'm not sure. I don't think I'm not sure he was the underdog or the favorite, but for me, he was a heavy underdog in this fight. Standing up with Uriah Hall. Um, Come on, Chris Weidman for me had to. Uriah Hall is a similar type to Anderson Silva, but at the same time, he's just knocked out Anderson Silva. Not prime Anderson Silva, of course, but Chris Weidman's not prime Chris Weidman anymore either. Like, it's just how I see it. And we'll never know how that fight would have gone, but unless they run it back again. But, we'll see. And this is the trilogy no one wanted, I guess, if it happens. But, yeah, I mean, they both hold victories over each other now. Not the way not the way Uriah would want the victory, but he still holds a victory over him at the end of the day. And yeah, now on to the first title fight. Valentina Shevchenko versus Jessica Andrade. This fight, I just said to Milan when we're talking, I'm gonna score this one along. I'm gonna write down what happens, and we're gonna write down and see what happens, that kind of thing. And Milan's like, cool, no problem. But Milan wasn't counting it, just myself. Um, Ladies and gentlemen, I did not need to count this fight. I thought this was going to be a 5-rounder, possibly a decision. This fight went to the second, and it was the most surprising fight of the card. Valentina Shevchenko beating the women's flyweight record for the most takedowns in a fight in 2 rounds. Under 2 rounds. She didn't do full 2 rounds. 7 takedowns. 7 takedowns. I was just so surprised at that. 7 takedowns. She tried a submission, didn't quite get it off, but in the second round, like, she got on that mounted crucifix, and oh my god, she just had her laid out, Jessica Andrade, and she was just delivering elbows and bombs, and she just couldn't do anything, and the referee had to step in, had to stop that. Um, but Valentina Shevchenko just showed how good she really is. I mean, she's got 2 losses on her record to, I believe 2 of them are to, I'm actually gonna check this out for you guys. I believe 2 of them are to Amanda Nunes, and another one I'm not entirely sure. I'm gonna guess Joanna, your Jade check or something. Um, Even though Joanna's actually at 115, and I think about it, but I have no idea. Who has she lost to? Amanda Nunes twice, and okay, someone else in some other promotion. Not that important. But yeah, I think uh the Amanda Nunes fight is there. I mean, if they want to do that, but there's not a lot going on at women's flyweight, to be honest. I can have a little look, but I don't really perceive there being a whole lot. Jessica Andrade was the big thing going into that fight. I mean, I think they're gonna have to let the division play out a little bit. Maybe get Antona Shevchenko to take on her sister or something. Could be a funny fight, but I don't think so. They've actually not updated the website yet. That's a bit funny. Um, they still have Zhang Weili as the champ, which I'm gonna talk about in a second. But yeah, guys, it's actually it's a pretty weird one. Like, that fight was so confusing because I thought Valentina was gonna go out there and strike with her, and Valentina was striking with her. Don't get me wrong, and she dropped, I think, just under 100 strikes in under 2 rounds. But boys, she was just on the feet, on the ground, just worlds better than Jessica Andrade. Where she goes from this next, I would have thought it would have been Wei Li Zhang, but Clearly not, because Weili Zhang has picked up her second professional loss to Rose Namajunas. And boys, oh my God, this fight did not let down. They both came out and they're hitting some bombs. I was surprised at the amount Rose was landing. I was thinking, I predicted Rose to lose this fight in the fourth round by KO. I thought the Weili Zhang pressure would be too much. Boy, was I wrong. I'm sorry, that was so dramatized, that little thing there. Boy, was I wrong. But I was so wrong. I was so wrong with this one. Weili Zhang, that head kick she got hit with. Oh, boys, that was just filthy. Pure filth, pure filth. I think they'll run it back because that's the only thing in the division, in my opinion. I think Joanna, there's no point in her fighting again. She's already lost twice to Rose Namajunas, so I would not run that fight back. Definitely not. And I would not watch it if they do. Actually, you know what? It's a lie. I would watch it. But there's nothing in the women's strawweight division at the moment except for the Zhang Weili fight. I think they got to run it back with Zhang because she's owed a rematch as a champion. She deserves it. She's been a great champion up to now. And yeah, I think that if you guys watch that fight, and there's not a lot of it, only 1 minute and 18 seconds, it says here. But yeah, you can see that Rose was just obviously Rose didn't land as much as Zhang Weili, but she just some of the punches that she landed, they were a bit more, something on them, like that a bit more of a snap on them, like she wasn't punching her face, she was punching just behind her face, she was kicking just behind her body, just behind her leg, she was really following through with everything, and she only landed 4 strikes in the whole fight, and now what that counts for me is one punch, a head kick, and two ground and pound strikes. Um, Honestly, boys, it was just pure filth. If you watch that back, what kind of happened was Whaley kind of dropped her hand because she kind of dropped her hands for a second. I think she perceived a body or a low kick coming, and but then Zhang's lead leg, it kind of went like her knee went behind her. Her leg just stiffened up. She was standing very weird, and then bang, head kick KO, the cleanest head kick KO. She hit her. She went down. Two ground and pound shots. Keith Peterson, although he gets a lot of hate for being a bad referee, I believe stepped in at the right time because Rose was just gonna keep hitting her. Had about like 4 or 5 more shots to hit her with easily. She would have kept killing her and she would have finished her. So I think that was a beautiful stoppage by Keith Peterson. He gets a lot of hate, but that's how I see it. I see it was a good stoppage. I think Whaley versus Rose, and I don't think that Rose will fight Valentina because they were training partners and they always spar a lot. So I think that Rose probably knows that Valentina's better than her. That's how I'd see it. I'd say if Rose went up to 125, it wouldn't be the biggest thing in like weight because I think there's not a lot between the women in terms of weight. Like if Valentina's fighting at 125. I feel like Valentina could fight at 150, 115 if she really wanted to. But I think she feels more comfortable 125. Rose feels very comfortable at 115. Rose doesn't carry a lot of muscle or anything, so up at 125 that could have a bit of a difference. But I don't see Rose chasing that champ status for a while until she maybe picks up another winner and a win down here at 115. But maybe Jessica Andrade wants to go for a third with her because they're 1-on-1, but I don't think so. Honestly, I do not think so, guys. We're gonna move on to the main event though, and this is probably the greatest ever performance I've ever seen from Kamaru Usman. Now, I know you guys are gonna say, "Whoa, what about the Colby Covington fight?" Colby Covington didn't have the power, the knockout reputation and power that Jorge Masvidal has. Um, Jorge was landing a lot, uh, and so was Kamaru Usman. Jorge kind of was leaving his left hand down and leaving himself open to getting clipped with that right hand. He was, I think, I thought Jorge was trying to let him land a bit to let him get a bit comfortable, but, Kamaru showed his levels. He got 2 takedowns, 100% of his takedowns were landed, And boys, I recommend you look up this fight right now if you have not seen it already. He hit him and the sweat came off him. He got knocked out into a different dimension. This man was baptized in the name of the Nigerian nightmare Kamaru Usman. This man's not a snooze man. He's Marty Usman. Not even Marty. He's Kamara Usman. Put respect on this man's name. He's going all the way. I was gonna say all the way to the top. He's at the top. I feel like a win like this, although he already deserved the notoriety, will fully, in everyone's eyes now, he is the champ. After the Gilbert Burns fight, you could have put questions on. Maybe he'd be a hard hitting jiu-jitsu guy. He wasn't a purebred striker. Jorge Masvidal is the most purebred striker you will ever find in your life. This man was striking from the streets. He then cleaned up his act, and his striking is next level. He struck with Wonder Boy for 5 rounds. This man deserves some respect. And honestly, guys, Gilbert Burns versus Wonder Boy is the next fight. So I was thinking Gilbert versus Wonder Boy, and then you got Leon versus Nate. I think whoever. So then Colby Covington's gonna fight Kamara next. So I'm thinking that whoever wins. So if Leon wins, if Leon wins or Nate wins, Jorge can fight either of those guys. There's a story behind Jorge versus Leon. There's a clear story and a clear fight that could happen there. Um, same way with another fight. Wonder Boy versus Gilbert Burns. Now, for the Gilbert Burns fight, not as much. Not doesn't interest me as much. I won't lie. But the Wonder Boy fight, that does interest me because honestly, Wonder Boy has already got the better of him. They said they run it back again, and they might as well. But something actually just came into my head. Kamaru Usman is now officially has to be seen as the baddest motherfucker on the planet because you know to beat the bad motherfucker, you gotta fucking show you're bad as fuck. And he did not just do that. He did that and a little more juice to it as well. He hit this man and he just didn't fucking move. He didn't move, boys. I can't believe it. And Colby Covington, if you're watching this right now, which I know you are, you listen to the Sean Riley exclusive on the TVO 4 podcast M&S edition. But you are listening to this, Colby Covington. You're a fucking schmuck. I know for a fact that Marty's gonna do you dirty and knock your ass out. And I can't wait to watch it because I think that Colby doesn't have the chin of Jorge. He doesn't have the ability to last as long as him. Maybe not. Maybe he can last a bit longer, but I don't think Colby's gonna beat Marty Usman. I just don't see it happening. After that, it seemed that the training with Ngannou, he unleashed that Nigerian power in his hands. And from that Nigerian power, what he kind of discovered was, how do I say, from the Nigerian power, what he kind of found out in himself was he has knockout power. He has the ability to do it. He found that out in the fight against Gilbert Burns. And I think training with Ngannou and stuff really helped him do that. And his ability to throw like bombs. If you watch the whole fight back, you'll see at points he was over swinging a bit too much because I think he knew it himself. We didn't think, to be honest, that he could just knock out Jorge like that, but he could, obviously, because it's happened. But um, that's kind of how it's gone down, and I think he'll be much more reserved and he'll use his power much better. And um, he'll use his power against Colby much better. But anyway, I was going to talk about that stuff now. I just got a few more little things I want to talk about, guys. I was going to just mention Anthony Pettis losing the unanimous decision in his PFL debut. Apparently a great fight. I didn't watch it, but I saw Anthony Pettis being knocked down. I saw Anthony Pettis with a lovely head kick knocking down his opponent, almost coming back with the W, but not quite. Very unfortunate. And apparently Hornswoggle got beat up, which is something that I know we were all tuning into. Really a bit of water in the morning. get me going, boys. But speaking about the African champion in USMAN, is um another African champion is what's his name, and that is Israel Adesanya. Sorry guys, I have just received a text message from my girlfriend. Yes. Sorry, I'm just responding to her now. I'm just texting her now, guys. I'm in podcast right now. I'm so sorry, boys. This is just a little quiet moment in the podcast. Um, but yes, so Israel Adesanya has been announced to fight Marvin Vettori, and I had a little peeky. I don't mean I won't like me doing this, but I had a little peek at that card at 262. No, sorry, not 262. 262 is Charles versus Chandler, which we'll talk about much closer to the event. But boys, Marvin Vettori, this fight is a nice little card so far. Um, you know who's fighting on this card, boys? So we got, let me name a few names for you. We got, sorry, I just saw something funny. Drew Dober versus Brad Riddle is fighting. Drew Dober obviously losing to Islam Makhachev recently. We got Paul Craig fighting Jamal Hill. And I thought Jamal Hill said Jonah Hill. That's why I kind of laughed for a second there. But the next fight, boys, that I'm very, very interested to see is Damian Maya versus Bilal Muhammad on this card, which is set out to be a banger because, Bilal Muhammad, it's a weird one. He's got good wrestling and good ability on the ground, but Damian Maya is Damian Maya. Like, if you know anything about mixed martial arts and UFC, Damian Maya is one of the most dangerous black belts in the world, let alone just in the UFC. This man will submit you from anywhere, so do not get comfortable. So this is a huge test for Bilal Muhammad. Of course, he didn't get his rematch with Leon Edwards, but yeah, I can't wait for that fight. That fight's gonna be a banger, and I presume it's gonna be stand up because I don't think Bilal wants to get into that on the ground. But yeah, and then the next fight is the flyweight rematch: Davison Figueiredo versus Brandon Moreno. This is on the 12th of June, ladies and gentlemen. So I'll be doing my leaving cert. How sad is that to think that I'll be in the middle of my leaving cert exams? My last ever exams though in secondary level, so I'm pretty chuffed about that. And maybe me and Mina could do a little podcast where we review our best moments in school, but because we're gonna be finished. So I don't know if anyone from Ireland's watching, so but you don't know. You do 6 years of secondary school, and we're at the very end of it now. So yeah, but at the end, it's very sad. Some would say, but no, it's okay. But the next fight now, Israel Adesanya versus Marvin Vettori. The reason this fight is happening, Marvin did not get offered this fight first. The first man to get offered this fight was Robert Whitaker. Robert Whitaker was told, "Hey man, if you want the title fight, it's gonna be on June 12th. I know it's a quick turnaround, and you don't have to take it, but June 12th is the date we're offering you. It's the only date we'll offer you as well." That's when Izzy wanted to get back in. Now it's happened. Israel Adesanya versus Marvin Vettori 2. I'm not that happy to see this fight because I know Chris Weidman said he does the matchup he's a difficult matchup for Israel. But if you look at this fight, boys, the, I think this is a very difficult matchup for Israel because not only is Marvin striking very good, but he's got an amazing ground game, which has only gotten better since they've last fought. And I think that's how this fight's gonna go. I think Marvin is gonna snooze his way possibly to a championship, but hopefully not. I think the problem with this fight for me is I don't want to say what I think will happen and what my instant idea is. My instant idea is Marvin Vettori goes in there, takes him down after striking for a little bit and cruises to a decision. Um, or maybe even stops him. But um, that's what I said, obviously. But that's kind of how I see it happening. But how I want it to happen is, I think what could be a possibility for Izzy to win is Marvin will come in and try and take that Jan Blachowicz tactic, but what will happen is Izzy will just because he'll Marvin will get too over eager to get on the inside and take him. Izzy will land some strikes, and that'll be the end of. I think Marvin could get stopped like that. But I think this could be a decision fest because I think Marvin's obviously going to go in there of the perception of I can get the decision victory over this guy because went the decision before. He's very susceptible on the ground to getting taken down and getting dominated, like we saw in the Jan Blachowicz fight. Yeah, he's a bigger guy, and Marvin's a much bigger guy on the fight day, coming in at about 220, 225 around that, which is about the same size as Jan for a little comparison there. So I'm actually quite nervous for this fight for Izzy because I like Izzy. I don't want to see him lose that middleweight championship, especially not to someone like Marvin Vettori, who I really don't like. But the next fight is Israel versus Israel versus Marvin. That's the next fight that a lot for Africa, and hopefully Israel could get the victory. For me, I'm a big fan of Israel, but Marvin, for me at the moment, Marvin's the favorite in my head. Marvin probably will win in my head, and I'm probably saying that for recency bias because I saw him fight. I saw Marvin's last fight with Kevin Holland, and thinking Kevin Holland has the same ground game as Israel. Israel's ground game is much better than Kevin Holland's, but I think maybe Marvin's. I don't know. I just see Marvin as a very strong, dominant guy. I just see him winning, and it's really annoying because I don't want him to win. But yeah, now sort of a next person I'm gonna talk about. I'm talking these guys together because I don't know why I saw an Instagram post and it kind of made me think, yeah, that could be a good idea. But Khamzat Chimaev, number 15, I believe he is, or he's unranked. I'm not sure. In the welterweight division, is he's looking for a comeback this summer. It surprises me because of Ramadan. I'm saying that I don't know when Ramadan is, but usually the Islamic fighters don't fight in the summer because of that reason. But Khamzat Chimaev, here he comes. He's coming back hopefully, and he wants to smash all these guys. He told Brent Okamoto on ESPN in an interview, and who is he gonna fight? I think personally, I'm gonna pull up the rankings for you real quick. There they are. And there's a fight there that I think is right, and that is Neil Magny, I think is the fight to make. Or maybe Vincente Luke. Oh, that would be a banger. I'm not really sure how much they want. Oh my God. On the UFC website here, well, Tyron Woodley's gone. So, yeah, Tyron Woodley's actually gone from the UFC, if I can say that, guys. Tyron Woodley got cut. Sorry, I'm just kind of glancing past that, but, yeah, so, we have his name Khamzat Chimaev. Apologies, I kind of lost his name in my head there. I think he should fight Neil Magny or maybe Chiesa or Vicente Luke because he was meant to get Leon Edwards a top guy, so I don't see why that should change. Obviously, he should be fighting a top 15 guy. I think a top 10 guy in Neil Magny would be the way to do it. Maybe Chiesa, but this is going to be this man's comeback. I'm hoping he comes back better than ever. He had to get loads of surgery. I think he had 2 surgeries or something. So I feel really bad for him. But another man who's coming back, who I don't know why, for some reason has been linked to them. Nick Diaz wants a fight. And I presume it's at 170. Ladies and gentlemen, who is Nick Diaz going to fight at 170? Who do we think? It's a very weird one because Nick Diaz, where does he kind of fit into all this? The only man I'm sort of seeing, there's only 2 names I'm sort of seeing, and maybe one of them, well, there's 3. Technically, there's 3. Maybe he could fight, maybe, just maybe, he could come back and fight, the man, the myth, Khamzat Chimaev. But, I don't think Nick would take that fight because it's kind of like, why would you throw him in there against some guy like that? But He could fight Vincente Luque would actually be a great fight, I think. Vincente Luque would be a great fight, I think. He could also fight Jorge, who just come off a loss. Two bad motherfuckers that he's stepping in there together. And then there's another name who I would only the only few names I can really match him with in my head. Robbie Lawler maybe, but I don't know how much longer Robbie Lawler's going to be in the organization. But it's an okay comeback fight. Like you don't want to put him in there with someone like Jeff Neal because number 11 first of all, and also he's just not like it just doesn't sound right. Nick Diaz versus Jeff Neal, whereas Nick Diaz versus Robbie Lawler, like that's kind of a blast from the past in your head. You're kind of excited for that one. So I think Robbie Lawler, maybe Jorge and Masvidal could be an option because I don't think Jorge would get knocked out. I think it would be kind of they would be fighting that fight, and I don't know. That's a tough one to call. Obviously Jorge's just been knocked out, but Nick's not really the kind of guy to knock you out in one punch, even though he's shown that in the past, but he kind of wears people down more. But sorry guys, going through this myself, 42 minutes strong. It's hard to do this. I won't lie. So I'm gonna jump in, kind of finishing up now. Um, Obviously I just kind of glanced on Nick Diaz there. Hopefully Nick Diaz, boys, is gonna come back and absolutely bang this as well. Absolutely bang this. Whoever he fights, get him right in the title picture. That's what I want to see anyway. Andy Ruiz Jr. is fighting this weekend. I'm not quite sure who he's against, but he's been looking in tremendous shape, and a fight I'm actually looking forward to seeing. I don't think I'll watch it live. I think I'll probably watch it after it happens and just go over the results and then break it down and analyze it. But it's going to be a very interesting one, seeing him come back after his loss to Anthony Joshua. He took a lot of time off. He gained a lot of weight, but he's cut down a tremendous amount, and he's looking great. He's got great new veneers as well. Great teeth, as I mean to say. But there's a lot going on. And speaking of heavyweight boxing, um, Tyson Fury. I'm not talking about him. I've completely just juked you in there, guys. Tyson Fury, his little brother. I think he's his half brother or something. Uh, Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul apparently in the works. Um, a lot there for Jake Paul. I think this would be a very good fight. Um, Purely, I think this fight would be good because Tommy's not had a ridiculous amount of time in the ring. Obviously, he's got a good amount of time training. But I think for Jake anyway, if he was able to get a win against Tommy Fury, that's a serious boxer. Um, and you could say like Tommy's only fought bums, but kind of so has Jake. But Jake has taken people at the time to him who were more deadly. Like he took on Anisam Gibb, who at the time to him was an undefeated amateur boxer who was coming in and had a much more like pedigreed record than Jake did at the time. So it was a bigger fight, for Jake to take, and it was a much more, I don't know if I take this. And also then he talked Ben Askren, who obviously we all know he picked as that opponent, but at the same time, it's kind of at the point where like he did take Ben Askren and he could have got embarrassed because Ben Askren's obviously a professional athlete, but um, I think Jake Paul's resume compared to Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury's opponents have I don't think any of them have had a positive record. I could be wrong saying that. I think he's fought people debuting. He's fought people who were like 0 and 4 and 1 and 3 and stuff like that. Like he's fought pure journeyman. Um, so I think that'd be a good fight. Tyrone Woodley actually, as I previously mentioned, got cut. I think if there's a time ever to make Tyrone Woodley versus Jake Paul, it would be now. And I think Tyrone Woodley has a chin susceptible to having him knocked out. But I think if Tyrone Woodley went in there and really put it all out there and tried his best boxing, he could do quite well because he's got that touch of death, as we like to call it, that knockout power. But I think for me, Jake Paul versus Tyson Fury is the fight I want to see. And ladies and gentlemen, that is me. 46 minutes pretty much. Oh my goodness, I am absolutely knackered. Talking like that by myself. Um, Having a co-host is a great thing. I miss you, Milan. In the next episode, the next predictions, I presume it will be next weekend. You'll be hearing from me and Milan again. So from me to you guys, I hope you enjoyed my little part of the podcast here. So don't forget to like and subscribe. If anyone is listening, this far, drop a little comment down below saying Sean's part of the podcast was better. And yeah, enjoy. Now passing you on to the man, the myth, Milan. Thank you very much, guys.
Alright, guys, what's up? So, I'm back. It's been 40 minutes. I have a list of what Sean has said because I did not listen to what he has sent me yet. I just want to bang this out real quick. But basically, guys, UFC 261, let's start with that. It was a banger card, I won't lie. More finishes on this card than there were decisions, which is incredible. There were only 4 decisions in this whole card out of 5 plus 4 is 9, plus 4 is 13 fights. 13 fights, 4 finishes. That's crazy, guys. That's actually crazy, That's that's not 3%, times, that's 30%. That's a 30% decision rate right there, which is crazy to see. Obviously, there were a couple of finishes that were a bit dodgy. Well, not even dodgy, just controversial. They were weird. That's all I'll say. But we'll get onto that when we get to that bridge. But anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Let's start off with the women's strawweight. Actually, first let me mention, boys, I could not have been more wrong about a lot of these fights, especially the early prelims, because I think I only got one fight right here, and that was the Dana fight. The double A Dana, boys. Now, let's just get with it. Women's strawweight, Liang Na versus Ariana Carnelossi, and this is a super fight to fucking start the card off with. I won't lie, it had me on my feet. Well, I wasn't standing, but it was an entertaining fight nevertheless. One thing I'll mention real quick, even when it came to decisions, the fights were still entertaining. I'm gonna say this now, but listen, guys, Liang Na and Ariana put on a performance. Yeah, first fight they really showed us that there was a banging card to come, and obviously it was a banger. Second round KO for Ariane Carnelossi. The first round was already so entertaining because it got to the ground. There were nice exchanges landed. Liang Na was she was fucked when she went to her corner, which was quite hard to see because you're like, yo, is she good to start the next round? But she was good. And so, yeah, pretty much it was a nice fight to start off. Second fight, then, we headed to the flyweight division where we saw Quailing Ayori versus Jeff Molina. Now, man, Jeff put it on Ayori. I won't even lie to you. Quailing Ayori. It's as if he decided to turn into FouseyTube for this fight. There was minimal head movement here. I don't know. This guy became a minimalist in this fight for some fucking reason. Because he was getting hit by a shot. He did get dropped, but he just stood back up. He was getting hit by ridiculous shots, especially in the end. I'm pretty sure they went into just a war. In the last 10 seconds, they were just throwing it down. And obviously Jeff Molina got the decision. It was a very entertaining fight. Again, even though it didn't get, it wasn't a stoppage or anything. Listen, man, this was a fucking banger to watch though. And yeah, I won't lie, guys. I watched the first 2 and then the rest of the card. It was so hit and miss for me because I'd watch small parts of it. I wouldn't watch the full things like I did there. But Rodrigo Vargas versus Zhu Rong. Again, we expected Zhu Rong to come out here and fucking decimate this guy, but Rodrigo Vargas came through with the decision. This is big for him because, as we said before, this was a fight that he had to win. If this would have been like a Tyron Woodley situation, which I will actually mention. Do you know what? Fuck it, I'll mention it now. Tyron Woodley, He unfortunately got cut by the UFC. Anyone saw it coming a long time ago because his contract was over. He lost his last couple of fights. It's unfortunate, but he had a good career. He fought the best. He won the championship. There's nothing much you could really say. It was a good career. Hopefully, he goes to Bellator and gets that bag and retires. Maybe even on top. Maybe he will fight the same way he fought Vicente Luque and he throws down in Bellator and wins the championship. But listen, let's get back to the subject in hand here. Rodrigo Vargas. He fucking smashed it out the bag here with this nice decision win. Definitely secures him a spot for a couple more fights, possibly even one or two more. If he wins the next two, he'll be maybe even not even early prelims. He'll go prelim to a prelims fighter. But well done to him, man. Honestly, he beat a tough competitor, a guy who was on a very long win streak since April 14, 2018 with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 double digit win streak. That's ridiculous, man. You don't see this shit often, but he even retired someone then. But man, Rodrigo Vargas, well fucking done to you. You put Zhu Rong's debut in the UFC in the shitter. But hey, listen, Zhu Rong, he's a young guy. He's only 21. The fact that he's in the UFC now, it speaks fucking loud, man. But hopefully it doesn't turn into a Sage Northcutt situation where they just keep feeding him killers instead of growing him out, which I think was the problem with Sage. Sage was getting fed killers, even though he was still maturing as a fighter. That's the thing. And when you do that shit to him, he's obviously gonna lose. And he went over to one and he fought even more killers, man. And I don't know. It's a rough situation for him, but hey, let's move on to the next fight. Dana Batgirl versus Kevin Nandvidad. Now, listen, man. A nice round 1 KO for Dana. I won't lie, it was kind of reminiscent of Conor McGregor's left hand against Aldo. I won't lie. But a banger. 2 nice knockouts in this card, in the early prelims. Dana put it on Kevin and he came away with the dub. There's nothing much I could really say. Definitely a fucking banging early prelims. Now, going to the prelims now. I didn't watch a lot of these, I won't lie to you guys, but I'll still comment on them. Pat Sabatani versus Tristan Connolly. Again, I forgot what my predictions were. I should have wrote that down, but we learn, we move, and we will get it done next time. But pretty much Pat Sabatani versus Tristan Connolly. Nice decision for Pat in the featherweight division. Definitely interested to see what happens next to these two guys. Middleweight, Carl Robertson lost via submission to Brendan Allen. Now, I'm pretty sure we said Brendan might even win the decision, which is interesting. Obviously, it happened. Puts a nice 16-4 record on Brendan. Definitely interesting for the middleweight division. We need a good few middleweights, especially. I'll talk about it later, boys, but the middleweights are starting to pop off. Welterweight next, we have Dwight Grant getting decision over Stefan Sekulic. Nothing more I could really say. 11-13. He's looking good now, man. He is in a good situation. I don't know if these are updated records, actually, guys. Let me just check real quick because I do not want to be saying the wrong records. Dwight the Body Snatcher. Yeah, these are the right records, guys. Dwight the Body Snatcher Grant. I think we said Stefan Sekulic because Dwight Grant came in as the younger man. Stefan, came in as the younger man. When you think of someone that is 36 years old, they're most likely coming off of they're pretty much declining in their career, I'd say. They're not coming in their prime unless your name is Yoel Romero, where you're just a beast all around. Sorry about that, guys. Just adjusted my mic, but he came in as the older guy, and man, he got the win. He got the decision, the split decision. He's back in the win column now, as he was in a one-fight loss to a KO as well in the first round. So definitely a statement to make, to win against such a high caliber opponent. Not the highest, but it's definitely a good win for Dwight Grant. The next fight, Alex Oliveira versus Randy Brown. A nice submission for Randy Brown in the first round, man. These submissions. Oh, I'm pretty sure. What's it called? One of these submissions actually, I did watch. I think it was It was the Carl Robertson one, where Brendan Allen actually got the a foot submission. I forget which one it was. Let me just check real quick, guys. I did watch that one. They went to the ground, and he had him hurt. It looked like he might have injured his. It was an ankle lock. It might have even looked like he kind of injured him a little bit because he had to sit down afterwards. But hopefully it's not that serious. Hopefully he's good. But Randy Brown got the nice submission. Randy Rude Boy Brown with the rear naked choke in the first round against Alex Oliveira. This is fucking perfect for him because obviously putting a submission win, especially this early on in the round, definitely gets you noticed, and maybe we'll start seeing him in the main card soon, Randy Brown, because Alex Oliveira isn't a joke, I won't lie. He's a good fighter, man. He definitely has fought a good amount of people. He's fought Cerrone and Mike Perry. He's definitely been around the block, and beating someone like this with big names, even though they were losses, still, it's interesting to see. He even fought Gilbert Burns as well. So obviously, this guy isn't a joke. And a nice little submission win over him, his 6th submission loss. Excuse me, definitely a nice little win for Randy Rude Boy Brown. Next up is the main card. Now, guys, this main card was a fucking banger, I have to admit. Anthony Smith with the nice KO in the first round. Well, basically, it was a Sean O'Malley situation here. Even Sean O'Malley said he was glad he wasn't fighting this card, and I don't blame him because, this day was horrible. It was a horrible leg day for everyone. Anthony Smith hit him in the leg, and he basically turned it off. He shut it down. Do you know what I mean? He shut it down, and unfortunately there was an update. It was like a Windows computer, when you shut it down, there's an update. Bro, you're fucked. You can't turn it back on for a while, and so happened to Jimmy Crute's leg. He did show a lot of heart, though. He really did want to fight on, but unfortunately it wasn't happening. Jimmy Crute, though, definitely will be back. Maybe him and Conor McGregor are going to have to, and Sean O'Malley are going to have to become a nice trio and work on their leg checking abilities. But I'm not trying to slander these guys. Unfortunate, though, for Jimmy Crute. Anthony Smith, though, nice to get back into the win column. I believe he was on a a winning streak, right? Yeah, he was 2 fights before that. Devin Clark was a nice little win he got by a triangle. So 2 finishes in the first round definitely puts his name back into the main card selection. Like, he's a solid main card fighter now. Now, guys, Uriah Hall making this next fight at middleweight, guys, was actually fucking ridiculous because Uriah Hall, man, this guy not only made history as the first fighter with 0 strikes, 0 significant strikes, 0 takedowns, everything 0, and he won via TKO in the first 17 seconds. Excuse me, guys. Just have some water there. Fucking talking this long without having like a conversation, just keep talking and talking, it's a fucking really gets me thirsty, man, I won't lie. But hey, listen, this fight was fucking ridiculous, man, because it's so funny that this is the most ironic fight of all time, because Chris Weidman, Anderson Silva fucked his leg up on Chris Weidman's, and guess what? Chris Weidman's fucked up his leg on Uriah Hall, who also beat Silva in his last fight. I'm pretty sure Uriah Hall beat Anderson Silva via decision in his last fight. Not decision, excuse me, guys. TKO. So this fight, it's funny how everything like this happens, man. It honestly is. Like, I think this is gonna be a hard one for Chris Weidman to swallow, because let's be real, guys. This guy, his career is fucked after this. No way you bounce back from this, especially at the age he is now. Do you know what I mean? Chris Weidman, he's 36. Again, as I said with the other guy, you know, you're declining at that age, and unfortunately with a leg injury this severe, although Anderson was pretty old when it happened to him as well, you know, it's just, you don't like seeing this shit happen. And I don't know, he had a nice win there before this fight, but his like last 7 fights, he has 6 losses, 4 losses, 5, oh no, 6 losses. Guys, I'm so sorry, I'm so out of it right now. I don't know what's wrong with me. His last 8 fights, he has 6 losses, which is a bit unfortunate for him. I don't think it paints a nice picture for him. He's definitely gonna have to just take your time, Chris. Recover. I hope the surgery goes well. I'm pretty sure they said tomorrow is the surgery day. So I hope all is well for you, man. Get well soon. Recover and just take your time. Maybe really think about this, the future of your career, man. Because honestly, this is a tough injury to get past. But listen, man. You're a tough guy, obviously. You know, you'll get past it. But what a fucking injury, man. It's so ironic how all this shit happens. Like, out of everyone, it happens to Chris Weidman. And the thing is, this isn't the only fight this has happened when he was involved, because he fucked up Silva's leg. Now, they didn't do it on purpose. They checked the kick, man. They're doing what you're meant to do. It's just unfortunate. And Uriah Hall beat Silva in his last fight. So it's a little bit of a funny twist there, but it is what it is. Man, listen, I tuned in for, I was tuned in for these last 3 fights. Because I knew these were going to be bangers. I felt it. Now, I was talking to Sean, and Jessica Andrade was doing all this. She was standing at the other side of the octagon, like Spider-Man. And I was saying to Sean, I wish I recorded this, but I said exactly this. Sean, Jessica is doing all this just to get knocked out in the second round. Now, you could call me mystic. I'm not bleeping that. But pretty much, I called it. I said this. Jessica's doing all this just to get knocked out in the second round. And man, what a slaughterfest it was for Valentina. She had 7 takedowns. 7 takedowns. She tied the record of takedowns in 2 rounds. That's fucking ridiculous, man. She had an 82% significant strike rate, 97 total strikes with 90 landed. Man, what the fuck? She had a submission attempt. I had the first round as a 10-8. I won't even lie. Because I believe it was 6 takedowns, 1 submission attempt, and outstriking Jessica. That's a 10-8 if I've ever seen one, man. Valentina Shevchenko, beautiful. It's the least you'll expect, because Valentina is such a striker oriented fighter. And the fact that she was going for these grappling exchanges with black belt in jiu-jitsu, you know, really shows how confident she is in her ability. But well fucking done to Valentina. It'd be interesting to see what's next for her after this. Be interesting to see what happens to Jessica actually as well. Because this definitely fucking... Valentina made it look too easy, man. I have to admit. Valentina made it way too easy. But listen, guys. The next fight was actually a fucking insane one. Obviously, me and Sean had Weili Zhang winning. And I was saying even Weili Zhang like right before the fights, while they were making their entrances, we were just kind of like having a little bit of fun, saying like, Weili. I said Weili Zhang is gonna win by knockout in the first round, and I could have not have been more wrong. I did predict the knockout in the first round. However, Rose Namajunas, holy shit, man, she folded Weili Zhang like a deck chair, man. It's ridiculous, man. She fucking threw that high kick, and it just folded her. Weili Zhang. I don't know if people are saying, oh, she took a misstep or something. No way, man. You got caught, unfortunately, and you lost the title. But hey, as she said in her, all the winners were so classy in this whole card, man. Jessica Andrade, she hugged Valentina. She was smiling. She was good, man. And so was Weili Zhang. Obviously, she was annoyed. But soon after, she posted on Instagram saying, losses, wins always happen. And she will be back. And it'd be interesting to see her come back again. But Rose, congratulations. Enjoy this moment. You really did deserve it with that fucking performance right there. Honestly, we were in disbelief when we saw that because, when you think of Weili Zhang, you think of the war she had with Joanna, and you're expecting like, her, she probably has a granite chin, but Rose Namajunas with that kick, oh, god damn, that was disgusting. But listen, guys, the last fight here was ridiculous. Ugh, excuse me, guys. I got fucking like no hours sleep last night. For some fucking reason, my brain just decided to wake me up at 10 o'clock after 4 hours sleep and say, "Nah, you're good. You're good." But Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal, guys, I'm undefeated. I'm undefeated as the bet of the week. Um, I'm pissed off I didn't actually put any money on this because I was so confident. I was saying to everyone, I was saying it at school, I was saying it in the podcast, I was saying it. Kamaru Usman is gonna get this done by knockout. No way he's not finishing this, and I would have won €44 if I put on a tenner. Uh, I think I would have won 22 if I put on a fiver, but it is what it is. It was a picture perfect KO, man. We've already discussed it at the start, but I'll just briefly go over it. Picture perfect KO. Kamaru Usman. Fuck, man, this guy is tough. This guy is definitely out here to show that he's the greatest. And Jorge Masvidal again taking it like as classy as you possibly could, man. He shook the man's hand. He said, "I got caught first time, but hey, God bless him." Jorge, well fucking done, man. You've honestly won respect from me, man, for that shit. Because going off and saying, "Oh, he landed a lucky strike" or something, nah, man. You got caught. You said it. You admitted it. And Kamaru Usman as well. He wasn't being super fucking douchey about it. He was saying, he was thanking Jorge for elevating him, and I'd say, yeah, man, good shit, because Jorge did elevate you, man. Jorge definitely made you into a way better fighter, man. I won't lie. It was a bit sad to see, though. Even when Kamaru Usman was talking at his post-fight interview, there were still people booing him, man, which I don't understand. Obviously, yeah, I get it. Not a lot of people like him, but man, if this doesn't put Kamaru on the map, I don't know what does, man. He outstruck Jorge. Now, Sean said before this, if Usman wants to come out as the GOAT in the welterweight division, he's going to have to come out here and outstrike Jorge. And guess what? That's exactly what he did. He was striking with him, landed a nice takedown. Then they stood back up and they went at it. And in the first round, I said to Sean, oh, well, I was kind of talking to Jorge, but obviously he didn't fucking hear me. But I was saying, yo, keep your hands up. Don't drop your hands, man. And I said to Sean, I feel like that right hand, that counter right hand, is going to be a big problem. Because I saw Jorge was dropping his hands for some reason. And there were two instances really early on in the first round where he nearly got caught by that shit. And I was worried about it, but hey, it is what it is. Kamaru Usman, you fucking beast, man. Well done. Right, guys. So that was 261. Next week's podcast fight card is going to be Reyes versus Projatska. My bad, bro, if I'm saying your name wrong, but I'll just call you Jiri. Dominic versus Jiri. This is gonna be. We'll make our predictions on Friday, but I'll just quickly talk about this here. KB Bueller and TJ Brown. You know the fight is good when you have people with 2-letter first names in the prelims. So listen, guys. First fight that stands out for me is the Marab fight versus Cody Stamann. I fucking love Marab. I won't even lie to you guys. He's such a fun fighter to watch, although he is a bit of a decision merchant. He's a fucking beast, man. He's a beast, and it's interesting for me to see what happens to him next. One fight that I want to see him in is against Sean O'Malley. I feel that'd be a very fun fight and really test Sean O'Malley's grappling/wrestling skills. Next fight I see is Sean Strickland. Interesting to see how he does against Krzysztof Jotko. Light heavyweight, Ian Kutalaba versus Dustin Jacoby. Ian coming back again. Gonna go for a nice little fight here. Featherweight, Cub Swanson versus Giga Chikadze. Again, these guys, I'm fucking. It's a nice card for a fight night. I won't lie. Now the main fight that I'm really interested in is to see Dominic Reyes back at it again, man. And it's so unfortunate to see him go from nearly the man that beats John Jones to getting starched by Blaszczykowski, man. It's the fight game. It happens, It's unfortunate, but it happens. But Dominic hopefully fucking comes back and he just smashes Jiri, man. I want him to do that. I want him to come back into the title picture because man, you don't go from nearly beating John Jones to getting starched and then going back out. I want him to come back and win this fight. But we'll make our predictions next on Friday. Upload it on Saturday. I'll have to do a lot more research on these guys just to see what's up, so I could give a little bit more decisive predictions next time, as well as more accurate ones. But next up, guys, I'll go to some rumors here because that's all the card talk I have so far. Nick Diaz, is rumored to maybe fight Khamzat Chimaev. Now, Dana was in the press conference, post-fight press conference, and someone asked him if Nick Diaz would fight. He was like, yeah, sure, he's definitely interested. Then he mentioned Khamzat Chimaev. He said, yeah, I don't see why not. Such a fun fight to watch. I won't lie, it'd be so fun to watch. But I'd give the edge to Khamzat because of that ring rust, man. That definitely is going to be a big part of it, as well as excuse me, guys. Nick Diaz obviously isn't getting any younger, so he definitely will have to get in proper shape, and it helps that you have Nate Diaz as a fucking training partner because this guy's a beast as well. But yeah, man, it's an interesting week for the MMA world. Also, I was gonna mention breaking news. Well, not breaking news because it was already announced a couple of days ago. But Izzy versus Marvin Vettori 2 is official for UFC 263 on the 12th of June. Now, people are saying, yo, why was this not given to Rob? Well, it's because Rob needs more time, man. He has been so active. He's been defending his number one contendership spot for so long. He definitely fights the winner of Vettori versus Izzy. It's cool. Guys, relax. He's still getting the title shot. It's not like he was discounted or anything. He's just getting it later, while Izzy is trying to stay active here. And I won't lie, last time was a split decision for Izzy. This time, Izzy was definitely his weakness. Some of his weaknesses were really shown during the fight with Jan, and most of it was on the ground. And if it happens like that again against Vettori, well then, bro, you're gonna have a hard night ahead of you. You're not gonna have a fun night ahead of you, and I think that I I kind of I wouldn't be surprised. I'll say this: I wouldn't be surprised if Marvin Vettori beat Izzy. But then again, Izzy's striking is ridiculous. I can't discount him, man. But he looked so mortal in the Yan fight. It just kind of puts a whole new perspective on me. But I can't forget that Izzy's still he's a monster in his division. You know, going up to like heavyweight definitely is harder when you're fighting all these bigger guys. But when he's in his own weight class, man, he's a monster. I think that's all I have for the MMA side of things, guys. Boxing side of things, I'll talk about, first of all, the Jake Paul Ben Askren card. Number 10 most bought pay-per-view in boxing history, which is ridiculous. 3 fights that stood out from here that I watched. Steve Cunningham versus Frank Mir. People were saying Mir wasn't Mir surprised them because, you know, he didn't get knocked out. I think this is just a nice little thing, just a nice little paycheck for Mir here. He actually expressed interest in fighting in the same card as his daughter. I hope that turns out well for him because I want him to retire. I really do. I want him to just chill, coach his daughter, maybe get her a championship, and just, man, you had a solid career, so you don't need to get hit in the head anymore, man. You're good. The co-main event, I'm gonna butcher this name, but Reggie Prograis. I don't know if I'm saying that second name right, but I'm not gonna say Regis or Regis. Reggie versus Ivan Redkach. Oh, what a fucking embarrassment of a fight, man. You could tell Ivan didn't want to smoke anymore, and he took the easy way out. He got hit in the hip bone by a less than a 1 mile per hour punch. Like, it barely skinned him, and he was saying how he got low blowed and he had to be taken out on a stretcher. That's not what you do, man. Like, if you want to quit. Don't be doing this shit, because it was so obvious that you were trying to duck him, man. Like, I lost all my respect. I knew of this guy, I won't lie, but I definitely lost any respect that I ever had for this guy. He even privated his fucking Instagram because he knows he's a bit of a schmuck, man, for doing that shit. But I don't know, man. It is what it is. Good win for Reggie, though. Good win. Next up, though, we had the fight itself. Ben Askren versus Jake Paul. Fuck, man. I couldn't have been more wrong with the bet of the week. Oh, it was Sean's bet of the week, so I'm still claiming my undefeated record. But Jake Paul acting like he just won 7 gold medals at the Olympics. I'm not going to be salty, but I do think that Ben Askren was just there for the payday. I don't think he actually wanted to stop Jake Paul, because, oh man, I don't want to be salty about it because I know it's going to come up that way, but I'm not going to say it was a rigged fight. I won't say that, but I don't think Ben was really trying. I think Ben stops. I still believe Ben beats Jake Paul. Just, if Ben actually properly trained for this, then he definitely would have gone away with the dub. But this is so weird because it's official. Jake Paul is the A side in boxing now. I don't care what you say. Unfortunately, it's true. If you're getting more pay-per-view buys than people like Canelo and all, bro, you're the A side. Anyone he fights, Jake Paul is the A side now. And there are rumors now that he's gonna fight Tommy Fury, which will be interesting because it's a big step up for Tommy Fury. He'll actually fight someone with a positive boxing record. I don't know why this guy's always chatting, because his opponents are way worse than fucking Ben Askren. But it'd be interesting to see. I hope they do fight. Jake Paul would fight an actual boxer, and Tommy Fury would fight someone with a winning record. So, yeah. Next up on the boxing front, we also have Andy Ruiz fighting this weekend, actually. Or did he already fight? Wait, I'm so delusional right here. Note, they have not fought yet. They're fighting on the 1st of May. Excuse me, guys. I will make my prediction again on Friday. But guys, it's interesting to see him back. He looks in shape. Good to see that he is back and motivated, fighting Chris Arreola, who is a 40-year-old boxer now. Obviously, I don't think he's going to be much of Yoel Romero. He's going to be a beast, but two notable losses are his two losses. First against Vitaly Klitschko in 2009, and his second loss against Deontay Wilder in 2016. So this guy definitely fought some killers. He got fucked in both fights. But man, it's an interesting test for him, to be honest with you. I really hope Andy Ruiz. It's not like an insane test for him. Like, it's not like you're giving him a championship caliber fight, but you're definitely giving him someone that'll like try you. It'll give him the chance to show off a bit. It'll give him a chance to show off his ability and to show off what he has worked on since his Anthony Joshua fight. And man, it'd be interesting. I really do hope he comes back into the championship column, because you could just tell he lost it, man. He got the money. The money got to him. That's unfortunate. But is there anything else I really have to talk about? Because I have a really broad list here. So I did the card review, guys. I talked about Andy Ruiz. There's not much really else to talk about, to be honest with you guys. I was going to say Tommy Fury again. Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. I'm pretty sure they are guaranteed to fight in Saudi Arabia. So they're going to get paid. And Canelo versus... When is Canelo versus Saunders, actually? Ooh, the 8th of May. So a week after the Andy Ruiz fight, we have Billy Joe Saunders versus Canelo. Now, again, Billy Joe looks in great shape for this fight. This is probably going to do a good few buys. Definitely more than there was in the Yildirim fight. One thing you have to give to Canelo, though, is he is active, man. Obviously, he only had one fight in 2020. It seems like he's so much more active for some reason. I don't know. He only had 2 fights 2019, one in 2020. And he's on his second this year. But it just feels like he's fought so much more. Do you know what I mean? I don't know why. It just feels like that. But, man, fair play to Canelo, man. He's really putting on a shift right here. And guys, I think that's pretty much it when it comes to this week's podcast. Unfortunately, it did have to come through a weird way where I had to record afterwards, because as soon as I woke up, I was like, yo, you down to record the thing normally? But obviously, he already recorded his section, and it's just, we did what we can with what we had, you know what I mean? And we definitely we learned from it, and we're going to improve. Next week's podcast, we're going to be back to the old format. But we did try and get a little bit at the start, so hopefully that was enough, guys. But yeah, honestly, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I've probably said the word guys 10 million times here, but it doesn't matter. Hope you all enjoyed the podcast. I can't wait for the next couple of weeks. The ones in the next couple of weeks. Jesus Christ, what's wrong with me? The next few weeks are going to be interesting because of all the interesting fights. The one card that I'm excited for the UFC is 262, man. Oh, 262, 16th of May. So a week after Canelo fights is so we have 3 weeks of bangers, man. I can't wait. I honestly can't wait. But guys, as I said, we appreciate you watching. We appreciate you listening, liking. We honestly appreciate this shit. Even if you don't put in comments or anything, no likes, it doesn't matter. We're still gonna do this. We enjoy this so much, you know. Anyway, appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on Saturday when I upload on Saturday with the prediction videos, and then on Sunday on the official podcast. So yeah, appreciate it, guys. I'll talk to you later. Peace.